Hi everyone, another run in New Orleans. This one doesn't quite go to plan, as I'm sure you'll see very very soon. This is, I think it's St. Philip Street in New Orleans. It's a different way from the run yesterday. I'll just be dropping in and out, just pointing out the odd thing. Not that I know much about New Orleans, I appreciate. Hope you enjoy. The building on the corner on the left of the crossroads, that building on the left, that is the oldest bar in New Orleans. Been there, I think it's 1770. It's been there since. It's called the Lafitte's Blacksmith Bar. Now on the camera, I don't think it picks up very well, but in the distance I can see lots of runners. And then I remembered yesterday I was on a streetcar and I knew there was a half marathon going on in New Orleans today, but where I got the streetcar was the far end of New Orleans, and they were saying about there being route changes, so I assumed it was over in the Garden District of New Orleans. And I don't think you can see them yet, but as I get ever closer, I am thinking it's quite a nice morning for a run, so people might just be running. And I had this run kind of planned out. I didn't want it to stop, and as I get ever closer I just think that's the half marathon. Ugh. Anyway, I decide to what's the word? Investigate. I'm fairly confident by this point it's the half marathon that's going on, and I'm heading right for it. So I wasn't prepared to alter my run, as I'm stubborn. And so here I am, I'm about to enter the New Orleans half marathon. There we go. And then in my head I'm thinking, if I end up doing a half marathon, I could die. So all the way at this point I'm just thinking, why have I joined the people? I need to get out of the people. So I hit a plan to dive across everybody, which I go on to do any second. I was thinking at this point I might just do a left and join them because they're at the end. Let's do 2-minute running, get a half marathon medal. That'd be grand. But I didn't. But now I'm totally lost. I have no idea where I am. I'd been in New Orleans 4 days. I kind of knew the odd road in the French Quarter, but get me beyond that North Rampant Street, I think it's called, and I just had no idea. So now I'm trying to hitch a plan to get to Louis Armstrong Park to continue my run, but I'll see how we get on. No, I'm fairly sure that's Louis Armstrong Park on the left as I run. So I'm thinking, how do I get into the park from this end? So this is what I do. It's nothing that exciting, to be honest. There's a door. So this is the park, and then I start hearing some guy with a microphone speaking, and I know this is part of the half marathon as well, and I'm just, what do I do? I don't want to be involved in this half marathon, but I seem to be forcing myself. So there's a building, the building straight ahead of me. To the right there's a white one, and to the right of that you can barely see it. It's a smaller building. That building, you can see it just there. That building belonged to a couple who became fairly famous. Famous, notorious, not notorious. I don't know, infamous. During Katrina, as they stayed, and they became just like local celebrities because they were always posing for the cameras and stuff. And the guy was an alcoholic, and I think she was as well. And they you can see a first aid tent to the left there. That's where I'm heading. The guy, they had quite a volatile relationship, and the guy ends up, I think he strangled the woman, the female, and then he mutilated the body. He chopped up the body into different parts, put the head on the stove and chopped the limbs, and he lived with the body for about a week and a half. The guy was in the military. That's Louis Armstrong there on the right. What a wonderful world and all that. And then he wrote messages on the wall, and yeah, like I say, he lived with the body for about over a week. And he went to, I think it was the Omni Hotel in New Orleans, and he was spending thousands of pounds apparently. And he was buying everybody drinks. He got absolutely off his little rocker, and then he jumped off the top of the hotel, and the police attended, and he had a suicide note, and in the suicide note he explained what he'd done to the girl in that house just back there. And he had strangled and mutilated the body, and he wrote a suicide note on the wall, and he left one in his pocket to be found on him. And yeah, it's like a fairly notorious local story in New Orleans. But the owners have it like a seance building now, which is a bit bizarre, ain't it? It's not that long it happened, like early 2000s I think it was. But yeah, that building just about there. Rely on me for the positive stories. Well, it would have been after 2005 actually. Now, as you probably saw, the park was quite blocked of people running around. And again, I wanted nothing to do with the half marathon, but over there is where I was trying to get to, because that's Congo Square. As he's trying to show you Congo Square. So I'm trying to find another way in here at the moment, which, being as slow as I am, is fairly easy to do because you get to see everything. Bless me. So that little to the left of where I am, that's kind of all Congo Square, and Congo Square is where Congo Square is where in the 18th century, when New Orleans was under rule of the French and the Spanish, so that's where, well, opposed to different parts of America, the slaves were allowed the Sundays off, and they were allowed to congregate together. And they used to meet up in Congo Square, all the slaves, on a Sunday, and they would bring their African drums and their dances, and that's where they would all meet and all play their music. And it's said to be the one time of the week where they were allowed to be African again. So Congo Square's fairly infamous for that, and it's also often cited as the origins of jazz. The origins of jazz come from Congo Square. I'll let you all read more about it. It's fairly interesting. If you're ever in New Orleans, it's definitely worth a visit. Very historic. Often said to be where New Orleans gets a lot of the different, started getting all the different cultural elements. This is Congo Square here, the outskirts of it. And you can probably hear the guy announcing all the different names finishing the marathon. That was the half marathon. I was kind of hoping he would say my name. Don't know why he would, but you know. There you go, this is Congo Square. It's all Congo Square to the left.
From Windsor, California, from the Dallas into Blackburn, from Bedford, England, Michelle.
Shout out to England, we. Now this run is just a bit of a disaster. I'm trying to find Preservation Hall now, and as I said before, I'd been in New Orleans a few days. I kind of thought I knew where things in the French Quarter were. I'm blimmin' lost again. And there's me on my phone. And then I realise that I don't have Wi-Fi or 3G or 4G to find out where I am. Well, I know I'm wrong at this point, but I don't know why I continue. But I'm trying to find Preservation Hall. I'm just running around aimlessly, really, to be honest. I know at this point I'm in totally the wrong place, and I know I'm getting towards my hotel again now, so I decide to, as it was my last run in New Orleans, I'll try and turn around and find Preservation Hall. I knew it was right at Roosters Market. That's what I'm heading for. Thank you. So this is Roosters Market on the right, and I know if I do a right I'm at Preservation Hall. The Roosters Market. Preservation Hall up here on the left. I think I all but collapse when I'm there, so I should be able to see it. That's Preservation Hall on the left, the kind of wooden exterior. I'd been there the night before, so incredibly good. Definitely go there if you're there. It's not been changed since 1961. It's remained the same since 1961. It's also where the Foo Fighters did their Sonic Highways in New Orleans. That's where they recorded their song for that album. I was trying to do a different run from the run before, so that's why I went the different way out my hotel room, and then before I turned onto Bourbon Street, which I did yesterday, and then I just turned down this road, and it was the same road I turned on yesterday as well. So I try and find another way back to the hotel. So that's Jackson Square area. So I think, if I remember correctly, because a few days, I'm speaking on this a few days after I did it, I do a right, and I run around the front of Jackson Square for something different. coming up on the left is Muriel's. If I ever do put the funeral video on, that's where I stood for the funeral. But that black window there on the left of Muriel's there, that's open up for people to have dinner with a ghost. So I think it costs, it's not very expensive, like $40 or something, and it's meant to be extremely haunted. And people sit there, and it's dinner with a ghost, and the ghost is meant to appear. Or I don't fully get the story, but it's something quirky and New Orleanian. But this is it, it's the end of the run. Hotel straight ahead. It would take most people 2 minutes to get there, but it'll take me about 5. But that's the end of the run. The hotel's up there on the left. Well, I hope you enjoyed. Take it easy. Alright, mate.